In a world racing toward automation, where AI is taking over tasks like writing reports, analyzing data, and even giving feedback, what's left for us humans? Welcome to Irreplaceable, the podcast that explores what only people can do and why those things still matter more than ever. Every episode, we'll talk with business leaders, thought leaders, and change makers who are proving that human qualities like judgment, curiosity, and empathy aren't soft skills, they're strategic and competitive advantages. We'll explore questions like, can intuition still drive great leadership? How do we build trust in an AI-powered world? And what happens to accountability when no one's behind the algorithm? This podcast isn't about resisting the future. It's about designing it with humans at the center. Because in the race to win in the marketplace, some things just can't be replaced. Hello and welcome to Irreplaceable, the podcast where we talk about the role of human traits in the age of AI for organizations to win. So today's topic is about the identification, the acquisition, and the placement of talent in the age of AI. So for today, I have an expert on this topic, Gary Dillon from Dillon Engineering Services.
Thanks, Anthony. And firstly, thank you for inviting me on your podcast. I'm happy to be on and to share some of the knowledge that I have. Look, my background is I own a company called Dillon Engineering Services based in Ireland. I also own a company called Talent AI. We are in the recruitment and contracting space within the pharmaceutical sector and data center sector in Ireland. So, look, we find talent for startups all the way through to global multinational pharmaceutical and data center service providers in Ireland, in Europe. I suppose my background is in engineering, quality engineering regulations in the pharmaceutical sector. Spent close to 3 years in the US working at VP and I suppose CEO level with some of the major pharmaceutical companies in the US when they were under pressure from the FDA under consent decree or warning letters to do with quality issues or regulation violations. So a huge knowledge, I suppose, gain when I spent my time in the US. From there, I learned how teams and recruiting was done on a corporate level. I brought that back to Ireland, and yeah, we are 6 years old, team of 9, and we are transitioning and learning every day as new tools come on board.
Yeah, it's a great story. I think about our conversation earlier about your adoption of AI capabilities in your process to get the right talent at the right time with the right set of skills. And could you talk a little bit about how you're leveraging AI to service your clients?
Sure, absolutely. Recruitment, when you think about it or break it down, is our talent acquisition. Companies wanting to find the best talent for their company. Typically, that is put the flag up and stick a job on a job board somewhere or look in a database. Use keyword search. Hopefully, you identify someone that's suitable. If it's a job search, someone applies and you're crossing your fingers and you're hoping. A search in your database, you are hoping that that candidate's in there. If it's limited to 10,000, you've got a 1 in 10,000 chance. If it's 100,000, you've got a better chance. But it's the historical way of word searching. You would identify some lists of candidates and then you hope after you reach out to them that they are the right fit. I think the introduction and the growth of AI and the different AI models that are coming out lately, even for me, we set up 2019. I think in the last probably 18 months, but definitely in the last 6 months. And this is how fast AI is happening. I think it is gone from which I thought I was an early adopter 12 months ago. I think if I don't stay on top of it, we're all going to get left behind. I suppose from a software point of view, what has it done for us? Well, it's something like, when you think about, Excel, simple Word or Microsoft Excel, you needed to know the formulas, you needed to know how to put the brackets in, you needed to know how to do the search and the Boolean search and getting into databases. You needed to know the formula. With AI, you don't. Large language model, you just type in what you want, plain text, and that is a game changer. I come luckily from an engineering background, from a pharmaceutical background. I understand the key words that they're looking for, but anyone now can do it. because you ask AI, hey, what are the keywords? It gives it to you. How do I put the formula together? It gives it to you. So everyone is becoming an expert right now, and we're a company of 10 people competing with, Main Street companies with 250 employees and 6 continents and 50 cities, and we can do the same work. So it's incredible what's happening.
It really is. I think about some of the things I read about 6-person boots companies that are bootstrapping a SaaS organization. They're saying this is our headcount ceiling, and we're going to be leveraging generative AI, agentic AI, because we believe we do not need more heads than that. And I'm not suggesting you're going to cap yourself at 10, but the fact that you've grown like you have, leveraging those tools, does that feel about right, that you're getting that much leverage from AI?
It does. It does. And, to your point there about size of companies against output, I think that's a massive thing. And, what are the people doing versus what are the software doing? I spent 2 weeks ago, I was in London. I was fortunate to be in the same room as Daniel Priestley. And his big thing is around the key person of influence, the knowledge. You need the knowledge. And if you have the knowledge, you need to be able to share it. Be the important one in the room where people are looking for you. He talks about building teams and getting to that, 11, 12 people. But then, and he's built, several different companies based on software and different areas around marketing. But, you get to 12, everyone's an individual contributor, they're doing work. But at that stage, then you need management. You need a layer of management. You need someone managing the metrics, managing the team, managing the output. So his thing of when you get to 12 or 13, you need to make a decision. Is it a lifestyle business or are you going enterprise? And his number is 12 and the next number is 24. You build in your management team, but also more employees to be managed. So it's a huge change in terms of typically we would have needed people to do the searches, analyze the data, speak to the candidates. But now at 12 and using AI, number 13, 14, 15, 16, and 17 are basically the AI agents that are doing the work. The value then has been added by the recruiter and just building the relationships. That's something AI can't do. And forever will be the same. There's nuances around, doing searches and, asking, I suppose, AI and the model, for feedback and how you want it. And that's a skill in itself.
Yes.
And, I talked to you prior to this, the human in the loop, and we will touch on that, but that will never, never, never leave. Look, thankfully it won't, because, where are we going to be if AI is actually driving the bus?
I'm wondering if you could talk about what are some of the human traits that hiring managers need to demonstrate to essentially convince candidates to come on board under your umbrella.
Yeah, and look, AI will, and AI agents will find the candidates or narrow the candidates down to the top 3%. They'll schedule the interviews, they'll ask the initial questions, they'll set up the pre-interviews or the pre-screens, they'll schedule the follow-ups, they will rank the candidates, it'll do all that. But the human part is the key part. They have to interpret the nuances, the cultural fit, the leadership qualities, the matching the IQ of the candidate, the personability of the candidate. It comes back to then the recruiter or the company or myself as the conduit that, hey, I know what the hiring manager likes. I know what they don't like, which is even more important. I know the way they speak. I know where they come from. I know the circles they hang out in. That can't be that, and that isn't there for AI yet. AI cannot get to that level. But a huge thing, and it's a tagline of our company. We're trusted partners. Humans build trust. We don't buy from AI bots. I'm not going to remember an AI bot. If I hop on a website or apply for a job and I answer 20 questions, or I do a Loom video and I give my feedback or I answer the questions the bot has asked through AI. I don't remember that, but I definitely remember a person I spoke to and the way they did me, and the confidence they gave me to apply for a role, and maybe the, hey, stay in touch and this isn't maybe the role for you, and giving it candidly. That cannot be done by AI. That's the human in the middle. But the big one that I see is you have all these AI models that are sucking millions and millions of data points, but the
Yeah.
model is not perfect. And to go off on a whim, and this is the whole thing, AI is incredible in what it can do, but we still are challenging the model every day. We audit the search, we audit the prompt, we audit the outcome and the way it's presented to you. Just because it's bold, underlined, italics, sitting in a lovely column with a 5 star on it, doesn't mean it's the right candidate. And I think them three things, the nuance around the role and humans are complicated people, are complicated to deal with. Um, the trust that can only happen from human to human, challenging the model. There are three areas where a human being, will always be in the center, always.
It's a great point. And I think about some of the elements of AI that are being wrestled with the AI Act of EU, and US is just coming to terms with some of the ethical considerations. And how are you thinking about things like explainability? How did you get to this candidate? Auditability, taking out bias.
Yeah, it's nearly the smoke and mirror part of what really wants to talk about it, because my team are delivering names and people that are interested and on paper tick the box. And yeah, where are we? Are we discarding huge volumes of people based on, put it like this, black or white numbers on a sheet? And that's what's happening. Is it correct? But it's a delicate subject. It's like the whole GDPR a while back when that it was introduced. How did you get my details? Where did I come from? But I feel that the accessibility of data is phenomenal. We use some software in our company here that goes to 22 different data points, or data spaces, I suppose we can call it, in the cloud, and we can pull names and lists of the best engineers or scientists out there. But it'll enrich that data, and this is it. It's enriching the data with personal email addresses, contact details, that are out there in some shape or form, and enriching the names and titles. And is it correct? I suppose it comes from the point. I always think my angle on this is, if someone calls me up or sends me an email, am I interested in getting my hedges cut? Somewhere they have seen that I've been Googling, or I've messaged, or I've looked for a hedge trimmer, or I've called the local gardener for something. And I feel like, look, I feel like tags are out there and stuff. I say to myself, okay, well, obviously someone is tracking me, or I'm out there somewhere, they got my details, but am I happy that they contact me? I'm not bothered, put it that way. And it's the same thing. It's like anything. And I see Daniel Priestley talking about it. It's like 11 touch points and then you're noticed. I send an email to someone, or I send a message, hey, are you interested in a role? Where'd you get my details? No one really sees that message until it's the 8th or 10th time and it's the right time. If I don't see ads about new cars, because I'm not in the market today for a new car, but I'm certainly going to come across it if someone's pinging me the same message about a new car at a time where I'm thinking about new cars and I'm doing nothing but searching online for new cars. So I think it's a time in your life when you start to notice these things more. And does it grate on you? Possibly. But fair. To be fair, well, I've been doing this now on my own in my own company for the last 6 years. I honestly never had one person ask me, "Where'd you get my details?" Because the people that are coming back to me are the ones that are actually going, "Well, tell me more," or "What's that about?" or "What's the salary?" or "Can I do a 4-day week? Can I do a remote?" They just want information from you. Like, all I'm trying to do is progress people into new roles. The people that, you know, for me personally, anyway, and I can only talk about what we're doing. Um, I rarely find people, actually, I rarely find people at all in general, that if you give them some information, the first thing they say is, "Where'd you get my details?" If, it isn't there.
I'm hearing a theme of is the artificial intelligence capabilities that you're leveraging are providing more transparency to provide a profile of someone that's enriched with enough information to be able to say, hey, this is someone you should talk with. So are you finding that the candidates are demanding more transparency from you, given that you can see more about them?
That's actually a great point. Do I think AI identifies candidates as potentials. I think screening identifies a candidate as that candidate that's suitable. That's the difference. We can get to a point where, you know, shooting in the dark. If, I suppose we didn't have AI in terms of is it the right candidate or not. But again, the whole thing of like trust, like it's a two. I don't call them interviews anymore. I call them two-way conversations. Hey, listen, I came across your profile. I think you're great for this role. I know the hiring manager. I know he's going to like you. Would you like to have a conversation to learn more about the role? Of course, I'd love to have a conversation to learn more about the role. It's a role I would like to be in. Great. Can you speak on Friday? Absolutely. Do you have any ballpark idea what the salary may be? Do you know any ballpark idea of like, is there an option for remote working, maybe 2 to 3 days a week after I get my feet under the table? Absolutely. I see it in the past. Quite absolutely. But it comes back to trust and how two people can interact together. That's it in a nutshell, really. It's not complicated what we do, but we cannot throw, as we'd say, muck at the wall and hope something sticks. I am what I would say is anyone that I'm sending to a client or anyone of my team are sending to a client, we have screened the candidate. Okay, yeah, how do we get to the point where we're screening? That's the AI side of things. But we still have to talk to them. We still have to confirm that salaries and rates are working, that education is right, that the years of experience is right, there isn't any overlaps. And it comes down to does it make sense? And the huge question of why. Why? It's the first question the hiring manager asks. Anytime hire someone. Why? Why do you want to work with us? You're not, if you're whether you're relocating, time in life, career progression, the company you're working in, it has stalled and there's no more opportunities for development, whatever that may be, there's the why. And AI unfortunately doesn't put together the why yet. Because it can only work the answer out from what's it's given, and you're not ever going to give that only on a call to a hiring manager because it's an emotional thing.
Do you ever think there's a time when end to end your process could be handled by an agentic AI?
Um, yeah, I don't, to be honest. I honestly don't. And it comes back to your point there is I don't know who said it before, the 7 whys. Well, I don't know what that model is, but I seen it in person 2 weeks ago. And even right now, like why am I doing what I'm doing? If I broke it down to why I'm doing it to make money, to keep the company going, but really is it the families, the kids, where they want to go on holidays and college? The hiring manager wants to know. Hey, he wants to look straight at him. And that's why a lot of interviews are done face to face because the way people shape and move, as you know, like that's not going to be measured by AI. A video call, it'll take some emotional views of you and stuff, but not like a face to face conversation of why do you want the job? Looking straight into someone's eyes and feeling what what that person wants to achieve or where they want to go in life. AI will never ever catch that. It'll try, and there'll be different people, but it's like anything with AI. Like one, like the companies that are probably going to succeed and deliver with AI probably aren't even created yet. This is how quick AI is moving. Okay, there'll be some emotional intelligence software that'll, say it'll do this and that and the other. But I personally don't think, and I hope it actually doesn't, but get to the point where AI has the ability to read people's emotions because then, like, well, it's reading our minds then at that stage. AI is great and software is great for people working remote and stuff, but we still need to, like, we're all humans. We want to be high fiving and hugging people and helping people. The tide raises all boats. That's the important bit. We're not all in, people at certain stages of life are in for money or fame or on the front page and stuff. That's great, but really we're in it for family, happiness, quiet times, just to look over, a smile, everyone's comfortable and safe. And I think AI will assist us, but it won't be able to do it for us.
I think about advice you might give to organizations where they have internal recruitment or talent acquisition shops, or whether they leverage, partners like Dillon Engineering Services. Advice you would give them about how to think about leveraging AI and balancing that with the human element, and keeping that balance correct. 'Cause
Yeah, I think, look, you can't help anyone unless they know you're out there and can help them. So AI in that way, there's a lot of automation tools, and it's not just AI. There's a lot of automation tools that just get outreached. So if you have a baseline or a data set of people you want to outreach to, and look, AI is great for putting them huge volumes of data together, cutting it up and putting it into a pipeline. That's not AI even, it's just straightforward marketing tools. And then you just drive the funnel and you put the a lot of names in at the top, and you drive it through, and you're outreaching with information that you think is relevant for them, that they will be interested in and will not waste their time. People will come back generally to see if there's more information that they want from you or they trust you. But it's about then talking and engaging with the people that are saying, hey, I'm interested, I want to learn more. And it's the building the trust parts. Big companies that, I work with, on one side, Dillon Engineering Services will go find the candidate. We have a good database. We've worked with a lot of people already. Hey, this person is perfect. They have a track record. I trust them. I know where they live. I know where they are in their career. They're perfect. In they go. You won't have any problems. And I love that part, because Gary, I believe you. Look, I'll have a 5 minute call with him. Yeah, he's exactly what I want. In he goes. But on the other side of our system, then Talent AI, all I'm saying to them is, here's a process of how I can get a big chunk of candidates to know your company. And here's the 15 or 20 that are interested, but you've got to go and talk to them. I can only tell them so much. They need to know who you are. They need to know who the managing director is and the pressures you're under. And oh, you only work 4 days a week. That's great. You need to tell them this, and you need to look at them and tell them that, hey, if you come in here at this role within 18 months, I want to get you to this role, and I want you to be satisfied and happy and growing in your career. So it's two different things. Providing solutions is the right person because of all that conversational and talk that has been done is one side, but on the other side, with AI and software, you can get candidates to a point where they're teed up, but they still have to be spoken with and engaged with by humans. Because I'm not going to work for a bot or an AI agent or co-pilot or anything telling me Monday to Friday what to do. But I definitely will work for someone who's saying, hey, look, I understand you're 5 years into your career. In the next 5 years, I want you to be the VP of operations for my company. How am I going to get you there? And then people's eyes open up. Wow, if I work hard, if I deliver this, if I can get trained in this, if I understand this, if I can learn these new clients, this new process, new software, whatever it is, and then all of a sudden they're working towards something. We all want to work towards something. We all have a goal at the end of the day where we want to get to. Whether we write it down or we don't, we all have it subconsciously in our mind.
As you look forward to the next 3-5 years, are you optimistic about how AI is transforming the recruiting space? Are there some watchouts that you'd want to leave us with?
Yeah, I think, look, I would say I'm cautiously optimistic. It's a force multiplier. It'll do a lot of stuff, but if the human governance and the ethics around it, I have to take it myself as in, like, I would be an ethical person. I want to do the right thing. I don't want to. I think a lot about karma and what can happen if people cut corners and chase the transactional wins that you can get very easily. I think it comes full circle and you turn into the spoof that you don't want to be. It comes down to ethics and doing the right thing, but the human governance part and the ethics part of AI and, the corners we can cut, and are we actually causing harm? That's something that needs to be nearly documented. You nearly need to say, this is the way we want to use AI for. We want to use it the right way. If we use it the wrong way, in the long run, we're going to have bad data, bad prompts, a bad outcome, I would think. So I suppose cautiously optimistic. There's a blind spot that we need to be careful about.
I agree completely. It's almost as if we're trying to catch up to an accelerating high-powered vehicle with a bicycle. Right now, we're making strides. The AI Act and U.S. is coming out with, call it, more of a laissez-faire approach. To your point, and we are in need of some very clear guardrails of some sort. What I sense from you is, within your profession, you're seeing that as a practical matter because it's a reputational matter. So if you get it right, your business is going to continue to flourish. But if you get it wrong, it probably doesn't take too many of those to create existential risk. Is that
Yeah,
fair?
I would agree. Look, do the right thing. Build trust. Like, I put that tag on my company when we started because honestly, I think that's the most important thing. Build trust. If you're reaching out to people for the right reasons, hey, I've got something for you. How do you know you've got something for me? Because you're 5 years as an engineer in the same company. I've got an amazing opportunity with a global company that I think you would be great for. Do you want to hear more? Of course I do. I want it to be practical and I want to give some value. And it goes back to that KPI, that key person of influence, where, hey, I have something for you. Trust me on this. So that's my a big take from it. Cautiously optimistic that look, AI will do all the nice admin that I actually don't like doing, and then just leave me be to talk to really good candidates that are interested in working. Isn't that like that's enjoyable? Like my team enjoy that.
That's true leverage. And, I like to think of trust as the currency of business. And what you're able to do with, it sounds to me, with Dillon Engineering Services is leveraging AI to allow you to focus more on nurturing, building, growing that trust and influence on both sides of the equation. So that's exciting to me.
The golden nuggets that I learned from talking to other human beings like yourself, Anthony, is the secret sauce that you need to grow, And then the last part of it is like just proactively govern, audit your model, check it, the reports that come back. Check, are you happy with what you're getting back, and you're not skewing off on a tangent you didn't want to go down. That really involves other people getting eyes on the same data, and that's the human in the loop part again.
Truly.
Don't trust everything that comes back, but I for me, it's a game changer. Absolute game changer. I think we are probably, what are we? Probably 50% into this AI growth phase. I think, as I said, companies that are going to win big aren't even created yet. It's probably 15-year-olds, 16-year-olds that are about to just launch billion-euro companies like tomorrow. I think that's what's happening. It's exciting. Don't let it overtake, stay ahead of it. That is
Yeah.
my big thing. And I struggle to stay ahead of it, but it's probably it's an area that I enjoy learning about. So
Yeah, indeed. Indeed.
let's see where it
Indeed.
goes.
Well, Gary, this has been great. Thank you so much.
Yeah, it was an absolute pleasure to talk to you, Anthony.
Likewise.
You're doing some great stuff there in the US. Relationships between Ireland and the US are great right now. I love the country. I hope to get over there again very soon. Yeah, it's amazing. So best wishes.
If you found this episode interesting and useful, please follow the Irreplaceable podcast, where we've discussed a number of different topics about the human traits that are needed to win in the age of AI.